We got 100 leads in 24 hours. That's a lot. I had the little 99. I was like, should I do 100? But I'm like, all right, the emojis stop at 100, right? So at 99, right? So we're at 100, right? And we're going to break it all down. So without further ado, let's share it. So we're going to teach today exactly how to generate over 100 leads a day. We're going to break it down, how to put it in your CRM so you can make as much money as possible in wholesaling. That's always the point. That's always what I teach, how to make the most money possible in wholesaling real estate, right? That's what I show. So let's talk about it. Let's break it all down. So I think one big thing I do want to say before I get into it is the difference here between leads and qualified leads. No, okay. So this is one thing I think a lot of people get confused, but like, no, I'm not going to show you right now how to get 100 qualified leads in 24 hours. I would argue, I don't even think the biggest wholesalers in the entire, like in history, has even had 100 qualified leads a day. Let me break down the difference between leads and qualified leads. It's almost impossible. And I don't like saying things are impossible. Theoretically, like you could spend $1 million in your marketing in a day and get it. I get it. But like 100 qualified leads is very hard, very, very difficult. But 100 leads is easy. And what's the difference between a lead and a qualified lead? I think this is a problem because everyone just throws leads everywhere and they say it's a lead, but like, I only care about qualified leads. When I'm talking to my motivated sellers, I want to make sure they're motivated. When I have my acquisitions managers going on appointments, they're not going appointments on leads. They don't. They go on appointments on qualified leads. Qualified leads is super important for your success in wholesaling real estate. And it's not really talked about enough. So let's kind of break down the difference between leads and qualified leads. So a lead is simply somebody that gives you a yes, right? We love the yes. They said, yes, I am interested in selling my property. That's it. That is what we're focusing on today. We do not want to deal with anybody that they say, oh, I'm not interested in selling it. They're not even a lead. To be even at a lead, they have to have an interest in selling the property. So that's what we're focusing on. We're going to 100 people that are wanting to sell the property. Now, that is a general term, right? I can just go on market deals and be like, oh, they're all looking to sell, right? That's kind of cheating. But like 100 off-market properties, right? They're looking to sell. I can do Zillow Fizbos, and I mean, that's fine, right? I guess. But like legit, like qualified from government lists, other type of lists I teach today, how to get 100, like pretty much good leads to a point and qualified. So what is a qualified lead though? Let's sort of break down what a qualified lead is, right? A qualified lead pretty much is somebody who is motivated to sell the property. They actually have a motivation. There's a huge difference between somebody that wants to sell the property and somebody that wants to sell it with a motivation. Huge difference, guys. I think that's one that isn't talked about enough in this business. But really, somebody that is qualified is having a motivation and pretty much they're ready to sell at a discount. I have qualified leads where sometimes I'll say this up front. We have people that are like perfectly qualified leads and they want to sell at a discount and they are interested. They have a motivation. But unfortunately, we just don't get the deal. Sometimes that happens where they want to sell a discount, but it's not that much of a discount. Unfortunately, right? So we have some markets where we got to lock it up 20, 25, 30% below the ARV to make it a deal, right? And maybe they want to sell it at 5 or 10, even 15%, and it's like a lower deal, right? Maybe it's like a $50,000 deal in like Michigan or something, right? Where it's like, a 10% discount, but they want to sell at a discount. And they're motivated. Why do I want to put if you want to sell at a discount, you're qualified to me. Why is that? Because if someone wants to sell at a 10% discount and my team meets them in person, there's probably a 60 to 65% more or less percent that I can get them even more down from there on an in-person appointment. That's why I like qualified leads, because I can get them down in price more. If you're just willing to sell at a discount, like minus off what realtors fees or whatever. So I think a big problem here, you might get a lead. So let me give you a difference between a lead and a qualified lead that we get this all the time in our CRM, right? Is a property worth $100,000, okay? And to sell the property, pretty much, so it's worth $100K to a cash buyer. Like that's what it's worth, right? Like you sort of do the math in your head, right? So you look at this, you do $100K, right? And if it costs around 6%, so let's say it costs like 9% to sell the property if you include closing costs, right? So $100K listed, that's about $9K in fees, more or less, right? Let's do $8,000. Okay, this guy's saving, maybe he's using an extra percent off, right? he'll probably net $9,200 after everything, right? So if you have a seller that wants to sell for $92,000, that's not a discount. I'm saying below what it would be on market. Because what I really like, so if the house worth 100K on the market, right, then that's even more of a premium. If they want to sell it for 95,000, that's actually more if they just sold it on the MLS, right? Now, if they want to sell for like, if I'm looking at a 100K house, I'm probably want to buy it around 70. And if they want to sell it at like 90, that's a qualified lead. I can probably get 90 is probably not a deal for me, but they do want to sell it for less, even with a realtor. So that does work. So that's sort of where I come with a qualified lead and a regular lead. I know this gets really confusing for you guys and for me starting out, but that's really the best way to understand it. So that's a lead versus qualified lead. Someone wants to sell it for a discount and that already has a motivation. There's so many people that want to sell a property. There's not good deals, right? So yes, I'll say this again. 100 leads is a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot of leads, okay? But you got to get through a lot of these leads. And roughly depends on your list, but like sometimes a quarter of those leads are going to be qualified and sometimes half of them are going to be qualified, right? It's ultimately up to you in the qualification process we teach at freewholesaling.com. Now, at 100 leads, you're going to have to scale. And I did make this video for people that are like wanting to scale and trying to get bigger operations. I want to do more videos for those people out here too. And even if you're not even looking to scale, this is still really good knowledge for everyone. So I think everyone benefits from videos like this. So let me know if you get value from this, or if not, just let me know. I'll always read the comments. But you're going to have to scale. And I think that's one thing a lot of people have to understand. So we're going to have to go after scalable lists and scalable marketing channels. So if we have to scale up our marketing to 100 leads a day or in 24 hours, do a big push for it, we're going to have to go after scalable lists and scalable marketing channels. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to say this, right? So you're not going to be able to do 100 leads a day if you're just going after like a really small list. So if I'm just going after, saying this truthfully, like if I just go after the water shutoffs, I'm not getting 100 in a day. There might be even 50 on that list. And maybe I get 5 leads from that, maybe 3 or 4 qualified. That's not 100, okay? So just understand that, we're going to have to scale up and we're going to have to send a certain amount of outbound contacts every single, and I'm going to break it all. I'm to the numbers today. And I'm really making sure you got actionable steps so you know exactly what you got to do. But just understand that, guys, you're going to have to use scalable stuff, right? And let's sort of break this down. So what are my scalable lists? So I would say if you really went 100 leads a day, you're going to have to pull at minimum 1,000 from each one. So if you're going to do something I would say if you're scaling out and you're doing 100 a day, you don't have to pay some money. It's going to cost some money. So I would say go to listrei.com or zachdata.com. Preferably both, but they got free trials in both ones. So, check them all out. But listrei.com and zachdata.com, you can use kind of a paid list to go after. And what are these paid lists on zachdata.com and listrei.com? High equity. So there are, and I'll say this too. I just want everyone to know this disclaimer. Zach did not give you permission to go pull a high equity list. Just click high equity and then pull it. Your results will suck. And I'm saying that truthfully, okay? I'm not even trying to be funny. If you just pull a regular high equity list, your results are going to suck. It's going to suck. It's going to be terrible. Straight up. You're going to come to me on the one-on-one and say, Zach, you said pull a high equity, and then I pulled a high equity, and then I got no deals. Your stuff stinks. I'm going to buy the guru course now. I get that all the time. I'm like, Zach, I pulled the list you said, and I didn't get any deals. And the truth, because there's a link right here. Where is it? All right, right here. Freewholesaling.com. So just understand, guys, and I'm going to take a second to say this. When I tell you to pull a high equity list, I want you to go to freewholesaling.com, go to my prop stream tutorial, go to my list pulling tutorial, where I break down how to pull a high equity list. It's more than that. When I say high equity, it is the freewholesaling.com high equity list I teach, which it's a high equity. I like about 60% equity. I like the property not to be on the MLS. I like to be units where 5 units or less. Single family also. I don't want the owner to own more than 3 properties. On top of that, I want it to be below the median home price. I know this, I'm throwing a lot at you, but you go to freewholesaling.com, that I literally pull it in front of you. I have the screen share, right? And then also on top of that, I want you to add more filters on there. I want the person to own it for at least 2 to 3 years, certain things, because you're going to have a list of 10,000 high equity in your market, and it's going to be cut down to like 4,000, and 95% of that's all going to be just you're cutting out a lot of the fat from that list, where like you just would have wasted time, money, all this stuff. Okay, vacant high equities, like all this stuff I teach us. When I tell you this list, like especially you're paying money, your hard-earned money on listarea.com or zachdata.com, you can pull both these lists from these services, and they're both absolutely amazing, right? But I'm going to tell you right now, high equity is it's going to be really good. That's a really good scalable list. Tad more expensive, right? But it's very scalable, right? And a lot of your deals are going to be in there, right? Next is going to be vacant houses. I mean, that's probably one of my favorite scalable ones. And I do have certain criterion filters at freewholesaling.com for vacant lists. Vacant high equity, you can kind of mix and match those. It's a little hard to scale that because there's not like a super amount, right? And pulling 1,000 high equities in Houston is super easy. But 1,000 high equities in like, oh no, like, I don't know, Montgomery County, like Dayton, Ohio, is going to be a little harder, right? And so it really depends on each one, but like you just got to see where it's going to be. So vacant house is another really good one I actually really like. Next is liens. Liens is not as big. I'll just add that on top of the list I'm pulling because liens just have so much motivation. I'm just going to scoop those up too. It might be 400 leads for the month or like 300, but still scoop that up and throw it in your marketing. It's great. I would say go to the lien section in freewholesaling.com because we talk about which ones you like. I really like the tax liens. I like the utility lien list. I don't like mechanics liens. Credit card debt lien lists are good. IRS debt lien lists. Those type of liens I like a lot. Skip mechanics liens right now, and I don't like child support liens either. I just don't think they're that good. So those are the liens I would be saying right now. I would also add in, I don't know how I threw that in there, but add all your government lists if you can too. Now, it's obviously probably not going to be 1,000, right? But I would add in the government list too. So I would add in all your probates, code violations, water shutoffs, fire damage properties, arrest record lists, like all those. You might get 500 for the month, but add that with the liens, you might be at 1,000, and you can just kind of put that in the pile for your marketing. It doesn't hurt, right? Because if I do 1,000 government lists, I'm probably going to get maybe 30, 40 leads if I really market it right. Where if I do 1,000 high equity, I might pull 4 or 5. So like your best bang for your buck is always going to be government lists. Drawing for dollars also on top of that too. But like, yeah, next one, tired landlords. I love the tired landlord list. Freewholesaling.com kind of teach you how to pull that the right way. But zachdata.com's got a really good one. Listarea.com's got a really, they're really high value lists. So I really like the vacant houses. Vacant houses, tired landlords, they're all great. Vacant and tired aren't going to be the same one. So I just pulled them separately and they do really good. So every single month, if you're trying to get 100 a day, right, I'd be pulling these type of lists also. So what are the lists to pull on government? So I would pull government lists on top of this. So let's say that again. We got all these lists. So the government, what kind of government lists I'd be pulling? For like scalability, right? Probates is a good one. I really like mailing the probates at freewholesaling.com. I do teach how to mail it the right way. Arrest records with motivating factors. So if there's an arrest record list and it basically it's cross-referenced with maybe a lien or maybe high equity or like any of those, like anything that has a little bit of motivation going on with it, I would add that on. I don't know every single arrest record. You can. You start getting too much of a list though to a point. So code violations always. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like when you're doing a bigger operation, sometimes you just pull all the code violations, all the single family properties with open, and you just market to it. Like when you're doing a bigger scale, it's gonna be better than any paid list you can get. So that's a really good one too. Liens, I love liens. I tell you, you can get it from the government. You can also, so like you can get the liens for free at your public records, but you also just get it like in 5 seconds, like listarea.com or zachdata.com. So like they don't hurt you. That's another good one. Water shutoffs, guys, utility department, make sure it's public, and then fire damage properties. Fire damage properties not going to be a lot. Maybe get 30, 40, 50 a month, but I'm telling you, there's probably 5 or 10 really good leads in those. And I love it. You know, it's not a ton, but every lead counts, and every lead that is closer to a deal, right? Like just helps you out. So I got nothing against that, right? I love it. So let's talk about scalable marketing channels, right? So the first scalable marketing channel, I would say, which you can scale up really easy, is drawing for dollars and reverse drawing for dollars. So you don't have to be the one drawing for dollars yourself. There's a ton of places and people that can do it for you, right? You can have a team just driving around for you, probably $15 an hour. You pay for their gas, right? You can track them, right? There's a lot of trackable services out there, but yeah, I would say driving for dollars. I love it, right? Driving for dollars, really scalable, really good. 100% recommend it. I do love driving for dollars. To add on top of that, I would probably add in some reverse drawing for dollars on top of that too. I truthfully believe that reverse drawing for dollars is going to be one of the best underrated marketing strategies out there. So what is reverse drawing for dollars? How do you do reverse drawing for dollars, right? Reverse drawing for dollars is basically one of those sticky notes, and you're just kind of doing direct mail to a point where you have a little sticky note and says, hey, this is Zach, and a quick question about your property. Boom, slap that on the door. Really good deals from it. So how do you do reverse drawing for dollars? So you can reverse draw for dollars lists. So if I had 100 code violations, I could pay someone just half sticky notes saying, hey, this is Zach, I got a quick question on your property on code violations, and slap those on like 100 doors, and they draw for dollars in between those properties. It's killer. I'm telling you, you can hire someone just to put sticky notes on houses. They get paid better than a delivery driver. You get a ton of money. And the most important part of why I love it, guys, I get really like excited talking about this because nobody else in your market's really doing it. Nobody. Okay. Nobody in your market is reverse drawing for dollars. I mean, some people watching probably in the same market, right? But like, I can tell you right now, most people in your market aren't. Most wholesalers don't watch this YouTube channel. So you're really lucky if you're watching this right now because you have the opportunity to do something that pretty much a lot of people, like a lot more people are going to be doing the next year or two because they're just going to hear me talk about it. So you have an opportunity right now to do it. It's like buying, I know, it's like buying stocks. So if the stock's worth $100 today, it's like buying it at $2, right? Like it's very valuable, right? So I would say reverse drawing for dollars is lists. A little hard to scale up a huge operation from it, but it's not bad at all. Next one here, direct mail. Direct mail's a little more pricier, right? But I still love direct mail. So if you want to learn my direct, so I can explain direct mail forever. I'll probably use the ROS postcard on it. So that's honestly what I do. So if you want to learn direct mail, I don't get too much into it because not everyone can afford direct mail. But like if you're trying to scale up an operation, you're trying to get 100K a month, right? Direct mail is great. So we actually have one of the biggest postcards by people sending them out in the entire country, the ROS postcard. I teach you how to do it. It does take that. I made a whole course for it because it's that much information. And obviously no one even has any other course to learn direct mail always costs 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 grand because people can afford that, right? I want to make it for free for everyone so they know direct mail, even if they're not paying for it. So if you do want to learn direct mail absolutely for free, just go to below here, mailingmastery.com. It's easily scalable. I show you exactly how to pretty much go into batch and prop stream and pull the perfect list there. Mailingmastery.com, mailingmastery.com. Just go to Mailing Mastery or just go to freewholesaling.com, go to direct mail, I'll give you a link for there. That is absolutely the best way to learn direct mail. I also do postcards on probates. That's a really good one too. That's technically direct mail, but direct mail is really good. Next one, SMS text blasting. Love SMS text blasting. To this point, when you got to scale, I would be adding SMS text blasting on here. I would use batch for it. So you can try it out. Sorry, we don't even have, I used to be able, I was begging you guys. I was begging everybody to just try texting for free. I had a link for like $1. You can send 500 texts out and they were Batch was losing so much money. And I was pretty much the only person that was giving that out because they liked our stuff. But eventually they had to get rid of it because I don't think it makes any sense for them to do it. So we don't have that anymore. But if you want to get 50% off a batch if you want to get 50% off texting, just use code Zach on there. But SMS text blasting is great. I love SMS text blasting. I have my free SMS text blasting, basically mini course guide at freewholesaling.com. If you're not willing to use my text blasting scripts, your stuff's going to stink. So I would go to freewholesaling.com, get educated. Before you spend your money, guys, get educated at freewholesaling.com on how I actually do my text blasting. Because if you do it like everyone else, you can get the results that everyone else does. So go check out my scripts. They work, guys. I promise you. Okay. SMS text blasting is great. Next one here is cold calling, bandit signs, JVing, and networking. So cold calling, I mean, it's pretty much self-explanatory, right? Use my scripts, use the exact ways I'm cold calling, get a dialer if you really want to. I got ZachDialer.com. You want to check it out. But like cold calling is probably going to be your most scalable operation. If you add a VA on top of that, you can add a VA if you're SMS text blasting too. Just know, guys, I did not mention SEO on this. I did not mention Facebook ads. I didn't mention PPC. I didn't mention, virtual drawing for dollars. I didn't mention any of that stuff there because I don't think it's that I think you have better uses for your money. So I'm just being completely honest with you there. So bandit signs are great. If they work in your market, I would definitely use them. You can definitely get, heck, in my heyday, I was getting at least like 10, 15 leads a day on that. When I had a ton of bandit signs going out before it got a little harder in my market. If you really could find bandit signs that work in your market, you could easily get 10, 15 a day from that. Also, JV networking, guys, like I get sent insane amount of deals every single basically day just from JVing with you guys. So that's when I do have to stay in there. But yeah, JVing networking, that's a great way to find people. But really, like, you got to scale up, and that's gonna be the way for you to like have success. So if you want to scale up your operations through marketing, you're gonna have to go after lists that are scalable and channels that are scalable. So the next step here really is just creating a game plan, right? Creating a marketing plan. Hey, like I remember I was telling you guys, create your marketing plan for last week, the week before that, but like do the same thing, right? I'm going to pull this many lists, and this is the channel I'm using for it. It's a bow and an arrow. Your bow is going to be your marketing channel. So cold calling is my bow, and then high equity vacants is going to be my arrow. Use it both. Boom. Okay, I'm going to do that many arrows a day, right? I'm going to do 3,000 texting a day, and then we're going to do 1,000 cold calling on the ZachDialer.com, like that. Really, any way like you sort of calculate right there, that's how you're going to do it for the best success. So create that marketing plan and then take action, right? From what I've honestly seen, and I'll make this bigger for everybody, but like you're going to have to probably, most likely, for everyone watching this, might be the sexiest thing about scaling, but it's true. You're probably going to send out at minimum 2,000 to 3,000 cold contacts, not cold calling, not texting, but like 2,000 to 3,000, like just anything, right? Texting, contacts on calls, bandit signs, like all the stuff. Okay. And that's like, you're going to send 2,000 to 3,000 of those out a day, and then use the scripts at freewholesaling.com and then go from there. Like that's really, when you get 100 leads a day, that's what's going to take. And it might not be the best thing for a lot of people. Like they want the sexy thing. You click a button and all the leads come to you, right? It doesn't really work like that anymore. A lot of people used to say that, and a lot of that just doesn't work. So 2,000 to 3,000, that's what it's going to take. It's hard work, but the work is worth it. It's exactly what it's going to be. So guys, that's honestly what I'm saying. That's my little tutorial on this. If you want to get 100 leads in 24 hours, it's going to take that. Use the right lists, right? Use the right marketing channels. Guys, I know how to scale up an operation. I've helped so many people scale up an operation over 100K a month. And as someone that does a 7-figure wholesaling operation business, I can tell you, this is what it takes to start putting the leads every single day in there. And no, I think this is a huge misconception. A lot of people think that they have to have this huge cold calling center, like 50 employees, all these offices. Guys, like I don't go in an office every day. I don't want to. I don't have to, right? So I think a lot of people get really confused on that part of this business. You really don't. Like a lot of people, they overcomplicate everything. It's not that difficult. Okay. If you just have the systems, the VAs, acquisitions managers, if you really want, just go to freewholesaling.com. I have more scaling systems in there. It's going to show you really everything you need to know about scaling up an operation for the best success possible. So go to freewholesaling.com, and that's my story. I'm sticking with it. And that's what I'd say. If you want to replay, guys, just go to when this live ends. I do recommend you probably just go back and watch it from reverse. So just go all the way to 0, watch the whole thing. You can replay the song, and that's pretty much it for your success there. So yeah.